Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Public Works Podcast. My name is Joseph Blackman. Today, we got a real treat for you. His name is Sumant Patel, and he is the manager of Operations Wastewater Services at the City of Guelph in beautiful Ontario. Sumant, say what's up to everybody.
What's up, everyone, and Joseph's listeners?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Sumant. So, manager, Operations Wastewater Services. I mean, we kind of know what a manager is. We kind of know what operations might be. I think most people know what wastewater is who's listening to the show, and then services. So give us a brief rundown of your job title, and then also I want you to give us a definition or a description of what you actually do, because sometimes job titles don't speak to exactly what you do.
Absolutely, man. You're absolutely right. I'm sure that many of your listeners know what a wastewater treatment operations is in a public works services. But Joseph, I'll just give you a little quick sort of AI snapshot of what my job role is, right? So I did the podcast before once like about a few months back, and one of the questions the gentleman asked me is who you are. Tell me who you are, right? And your role. So I'm like, "Yeah, that's a who am I? That's a good question. I'm like,
That's a heavy one. Ooh, yeah.
am I the operations manager of wastewater? Why I get into it? So I plug that into the AI, right?
Yeah.
And the response that I got was, yeah, that's my role as operations manager. So I'll read that blip a little bit quickly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it says Sumant Patel is a seasoned public works leader specialized in water wastewater infrastructure across Ontario municipalities. With more than 12 years of municipal experience, he has guided high impact programs from large scale pumping stations to advanced disinfection systems to biosolids management and citywide asset management modernization. He blends technical expertise in environmental engineering with strategic leadership to deliver reliable, resilient, and sustainable public works services that support growth, protect public health, and advance circular economy. I'm like, yeah, right on. This sounds like my job, right? But it doesn't sound like me, right?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's good, but so then I
Yeah.
said I provided the AI a little bit more story about myself, like when I was young, like what I used to do when I immigrated to Canada,
Uh,
my parents' struggle, and how we came up, and how I got attracted to water wastewater. My background is software engineering, and from there to this, so I provided like a little story. So I said, now try see who Sumant is. So this is what it came up with. Sumant Patel is a son, husband, father, and community advocate who carries the memory of his mother waiting in line for clean water and his father's working for the NGO that built water infrastructure for less fortunate community in India into every public service decision he makes. He's a hands on engineer who leads with empathy, turning complex water projects into trusted, everyday improvements for families. Deeply curious and relentlessly hopeful, he mentors others and pursues sustainable innovation to build healthier, more resilient neighborhoods. I'm like, that resonated with me. I'm like,
okay.
that's 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 in the core who I am, right? I carried my parents' memories, my lifestyle back home in India and even
Yeah.
in Canada. The resource and the care for that resources is what drove me into this role. And that's what I wanted to provide in my current role, to make sure that I put people first, the future of people first, in the service delivery that we do in public service on day in, day out. And I'll tell you, Joseph, like 99.9% of the people who are in public works or water, wastewater, they were young. They probably wanted to be a policeman, or doctor, lawyer.
Yeah. Nobody
You know,
grows up wanting to be in water, wastewater. Yeah.
nobody thinks that I wanted to be water, wastewater operator, but it's a passion that drives them there, right?
Sure.
So that's yeah.
Okay. No, I appreciate you doing that, but you still got to give us what you do. Like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask it this way: give me the day in the life. Let's pick a random Tuesday from the time you get to the office to the time you leave the office. Walk us through pretty much every hour of what you're doing.
Absolutely, man. And day to day is very, very busy these days
Hmm.
in public works. We are always tasked with to do more with less. So what I do as an operations manager is attend a lot of meetings and plan strategic priorities, right? For what are the next challenges that is facing our water wastewater industry, that is growth related, right? Growth and aging infrastructure. So I have supervisors, operators, skilled trade folks who know what they're doing on a day-to-day management. So I'm kind of hands-off leader and provide them support and resources that is needed for them to carry out their work. My work is more of a planning to make sure that those resources are available for the staff who needs them to deliver the wastewater treatment services for the municipality, right? So yeah, a lot of meetings, planning, ensuring, and then also visit the staff who are actually working on a day-to-day basis, right? Process optimization is key, because to do more with less is you have this process, you have a certain amount of real estate, and you need to do more with that. So in order to do that, you need to optimize your process, right? Intensification sort of thing. So look at some of the optimization initiatives and things like that with the staff, and kind of work together as a whole team, right? And that's our day-to-day sort of stuff. Keeping the pumps running, keeping the lights on, keeping the wastewater flowing, making sure that the bacteria that treats the wastewater is happy throughout the day, because they are the one who are working for us, right? So,
for sure. Okay. The give us the career path. From and I always like to say from high school. Yours might be a little different. Not sure when you came over to Canada, but I want you to give us kind of the origin story of the superhero of Sumant. What kind of from where you started at to all the way up until where you're at today.
Yeah. So yeah, when I migrated to Canada, obviously, you wanted to take a good path that would, pay your bills, right? And get things done. So engineering was the way to go. And at that time, software was big. I'm talking about in 2000, right? Like after Y2K, 2001, I got into university in 2003. My path was software engineering. And that's what I wanted to do, because I love making games. I love playing games, and code and stuff was a big thing at that time. So I got into software engineering and worked in the field for about 2 years. And the company that I worked for was environmental geotechnical consulting firm. So they do a lot of groundwater monitoring and stuff like that, right? So and I was the only software developer in that entire team to develop a software for them, so that they can input all the data that they collect in the field to spit out good report for them. So in order for me to gear those reports towards the actual, inspection that they used to carry out, I needed to get involved and understand the business side of the things, to understand what they're doing, and a lot of technical terminology. So I go out in the field with them, and they're doing a lot of field sampling and monitoring and assessment. And I really like talking to people too, right? So I was talking to them and trying to understand the environmental side of the things, and impact and geotechnical environmental field. So then I'm like, oh, I really like this. I am getting interested in this groundwater monitoring and soil sample analysis, this environmental side of the things, and the impact it has. So then every day I was traveling through GO train, which is the transportation mode from Hamilton to Toronto. Every day I was going, and I was contemplating whether I want to do code for the rest of my life in front of the computer 8 hours a day, or do I really want to, try see what I really like. And my dad is an environmental geologist himself. So I come and talk to him, right? One day, and I said, Dad, I want to change my field. And I was shocked first. And he's like, but he was very supportive. I was very thankful for his support throughout my life. So he was very supportive. He's like, why don't you take a couple of courses from environmental school online, see if you like it. So I took 2 courses. I really liked it. And I changed my field completely from that point to environmental engineering technology, and learn all about water wastewater management. And then I did my diploma from environmental engineering technology from Mohawk College, and then got into the field work for Environment Canada, do a lot of wastewater sampling throughout Canada. It was a fantastic experience. I'm very thankful for my first mentor ever in Canada, Shirley Ann Smith, who gave me that chance to dive a little deeper into this beautiful wastewater world. And from that point, I just worked my way through the wastewater industry. I became an operator, frontline staff, became a supervisor, superintendent, and now in a manager role at City of Guelph.
Wow. Okay. I like it. A couple follow-up questions. Software engineering. So I would consider myself like the the entry 101 level developer, right? I use no code software, and I put stuff together for my company, and it's fun. It is so much fun because you're literally building something from nothing,
Yeah.
an idea you might have about, like you said, like taking data and making like a model out of it, and like using those kind of that code to, again, make something out of nothing. It's so much fun. um and also you use chat gpt to kind of spit those two answers out that you started at the beginning of the show. So how is chat gpt or AI kind of disrupting the software engineer role? Because I know a lot of people can just find the code within chat gpt, and you don't need to pay a guy $250,000 to write code for you.
You're right.
There's
And it is disruption, right? So in that industry, and that's why you see a lot of tech giants and
yep.
significantly reducing their staffing, right? Because of that reason, because now something that AI can do, we don't need to
Yeah.
hire a human being for it, and use human beings for different purposes, right? So
Yeah.
although that human touch is always needed, so
Yeah.
when ChatGPT spits out those codes for that, you still have a QA/QC through that, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm I'll be honest with you, Joseph. Like, I've lost touch with the software side since
Okay. Okay.
12 years, right? So God knows what has happened to the software industry for that on. But I do see that, right? I have few friends who are still in software engineering, and they do say that, now it's very difficult for a newcomer to come into that
uh
field,
yeah.
because significantly reduction of the staffing level for the software developers, right? So
Yeah.
the challenge is there,
Yeah.
but
My,
they tend to find different avenues to.
Sure. And kind of my follow-up question was, that is the wastewater side. I see a lot of companies, I would say tech focused companies, coming into the wastewater space saying, hey, we'll take, this meter that you have that measures X, Y, and Z. We'll use AI to, pre-tell you what you should do with it down the road. So I guess tell us what kind of disruptions you're seeing in the wastewater industry that AI has brought to the front line.
Yeah, a good and a bad, right? Like, I mean, if we're still at the early stage of
Yeah.
exploring the capabilities of AI, right? So we have this digital twin, which is a big
Yeah.
big thing right now, right? Like, you having your optimization, your facility completely like
Oh
mimicked
yeah.
through
Yeah.
this software model.
Yeah.
And you can put in different variables to see how your effluent's going to look like. It's a fantastic tool for the operator, but
Wow.
it does not eliminate the touch, feel, and smell
That's
of
what I
the
say.
operator.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need that irrespective of what it is, right? So you need to look at the microscope still, and you need to look at how good your sludge is.
Yeah.
You have enough rotifer or not. That's still AI is not going to be able to do it, right? So
Yeah.
um, but those digital twin and those things are real. The dashboards, having so much data we have, it's helping utilities to manage all that data and put
Sure.
it in a sense and collectively to make a good picture of your system resiliency, how your system is performing, and how quickly it can withhold any sort of disruption or change due to weather conditions or high flows or
Yeah.
significant toxic thing coming into your collection system, into your treatment facilities, how well it can adapt. All of
Yeah.
those things you can run those simulation, and which is great.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating, and we're still evolving on that sort of sector.
I know a lot of people think AI is like already just, cutting heads and
Mhm.
slashing jobs, but it's not there. Like, it's not yet. I mean, I think there will come a day where you'll see some of that disruption, but in our industry, we still got a long ways.
Long
So
way.
that human touch is not going to go anywhere anytime soon, which
Yeah,
is
I don't think so, because AI will rely on data, and who
yeah.
collects the data, right?
Yeah.
Human
Yeah,
beings. So
exactly.
operators,
Exactly.
right? So
Yeah, yeah, okay. What would you say is one of the biggest skill sets that one would need to be a successful operations wastewater services manager?
yeah, no, that's a really good question, man. Like, as an op manager level, like a senior
Yeah,
manager, that level, you're really honing on understanding your strategic asset management, right? Skills. So when I say strategic asset management, I'm talking about not just pipes and pumps and infrastructures, valves and things like that. I'm also talking about people, right?
yeah,
That those are your biggest assets. So how do you strategically manage people and all your critical assets is key. So understanding that, because that's where major impact is, right? You have to treat wastewater, but you need to make sure the people who run those plants and equipments that things push the water out
Yeah.
needs to be in a proper condition, right? So strategic asset management is key to understand that. The second thing is financial stewardship in public works, right? Because
Mm,
you need to be financially savvy. You need to understand how much things cost and why those rate and how it impacts the public that you're delivering service to. So budgeting is key. um, and the other key part is stakeholder engagement, right? Getting
yeah.
people in. It's very,
Yeah.
very crucial because you want to deliver a service, but you don't want to deliver with blindfolded just for sake of delivering it. You want to
Yeah.
make sure that those services that you're delivering is impactful to the community you're serving, right?
Yeah.
Also, sometimes unrealized stakeholders, right? You got conservation authorities, ministries who are also part of the same puzzle, right? Who are also trying to achieve the same goal, right? Treat
Yeah.
water, wastewater for future generation, right? So stakeholder engagement is key to make sure you're engaging those folks.
Sure.
Um, and the last but not the least is leadership under pressure. These days, every manager, every director in our industry is facing this pressure, right?
Yeah.
Doing more with less, right?
Yep.
Political change, right? Climate change, new regulations,
Yep.
that stuff, right? Supply chain issues,
Yeah.
we had COVID, all that pandemic. So imagine the change we have gone through in the last 5 years, right?
Crazy.
All the
Yeah.
tariff talks is big. So all of that requires very strong, resilient leadership, which is important. I think its resiliency is key to any sort of managerial role, and then you can bring that resiliency in your frontline staff. Then you connect with them to make sure that they are also resilient and not getting change fatigue, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's important, I think, to be successful these days as a manager.
Sure. You talked about financial stewardship. I want to double click on that for a little bit longer. What are some of the tactics you use? Because, like you say, you want to safeguard the city constituents' dollar. They're paying their taxes. You just don't want to say, "Oh, this isn't my money. I can spend it willy nilly." So, what are some of the things you do to, whether it's vet a contractor or get 3 quotes to make sure that people are being honest in regards to pricing, or just little things to make sure that you're safeguarding the community's money?
Yeah, and City of Guelph does a great job. We have procurement policy that we have to
Hmm.
abide by, right? And it's important that even the frontline staff. I'm big on educating the people who are actually doing the work in
Okay.
frontline, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like, "What do I care about budget? I know how much I have, and I need to
Yeah.
spend that. And if I need more, I need to go to Sumant to ask for more, right?" No, but
Yeah.
sometimes we face with that challenge to kind of make them understand that, well, yeah, budget is a budget, and this is the reason why we have that budget, right? And some of the things that I do is make sure that you follow those procurement policies, right? Which is 3 quotes, making sure a certain amount you go out for tender for equitable procurement for everyone, to make sure that we get the best bang for our buck. But even annual contracts, right? We have clauses that ensures that we're still getting consistent service delivered to us as a public works people, with the proper service and whatever we've asked for, as multi-year contracts. And every year we renew that contract with the vendors, right? To make sure that we're still getting the best quality products at the most efficient way and most cost effective way as well, right? So we negotiate those contracts on annual basis. Chemical is one of the big ones these days
Yeah.
in the water
Yeah.
waste industry. Chemicals are going up.
Yep.
So we understand their struggle. We have to come to the table. We have to come to the common table, because they also, the chemical supply industry also facing some of the challenges. But at the same time, we don't have endless resources as a public works. And sometimes that mindset of people thinking that, oh, municipalities and public services, they have enough money sitting in the reserve that they can just spend. But it's not the case anymore. It's absolutely
Yeah.
not the case, and we are struggling to sometimes come to a common negotiating table to kind of say, okay, this is what it is. We can't renew this contract at heightened rates.
Yeah.
We have those discussions, but through those discussions, right, to
Yeah.
making them understand our side of the challenge as well helps us navigate that negotiation
Yeah.
portion as well. But yeah, all of that we do like quarterly. We do a
Okay.
variance reporting, right? So we have the budget that has been approved by the council, and how much spending we have done. We match it. We talk to supervisors, frontline staff to say, okay, this is how much remaining in that budget. So variance reporting is quarterly done to make sure we are on target. Um, and and yeah, we don't take budgets lightly at a municipality at City of Guelph. And for that matter, the cities that I've worked for previously as well, City of
Yeah.
Toronto, Aqua, Ontario Clean Water Agency, Niagara Region,
Yeah.
they're all really, really working really hard to make sure that they're spending taxpayers' dollar very wisely and getting the best bang for their buck, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool. I mean, we should clip that out and send it to everybody in Guelph.
Yeah, absolutely.
PSA. I like to get stories from people. So I need a story from Sumant when something went wrong under your watch, what you did to fix it, and then what lessons you learned from it to apply to your future career.
Oh man, that's a good question.
And the reason why I asked this question is not that I'm trying to get you caught up on what you did wrong. It's that there's other people in your position around the country or world who are in some type of adversity for something they might have done or omitted or we all make boo-boos in life,
Yeah,
right? And I want them to know that you made it through, so therefore they can make it through it also.
of course, man. And that's the best way of learning, right? If you don't make a mistake, you're never gonna grow.
Yeah.
You gotta learn from your mistakes and make sure that you don't repeat it. That's
Yeah.
end goal. But okay, something that comes to my mind. I mean, it wasn't too bad. It was just me being overconfident on my ability, right? And not recognizing that I probably need more
We all
support,
do that, yeah.
right? So, and when you're young, I'm talking about my first year in a wastewater treatment plant as an operator, right? After I finished my training. So I was the operator. I finished my training, and then my supervisor was putting me on the shift. My first shift was a night shift. Night shift, and it's a massive plant of 450 MLD as an average flow, million liters a day. All right, treatment facility. So it's a really large plant. And I was on a night shift. My supervisor called me in the morning to say, "Hey, Sumant, you're in a night shift. There's a significantly amount of high flows, and I know because it was supposed to be a lot of rain, and it's a combined sewer system.
Okay.
So when rain falls, storm and sanitary, they both make its way to the treatment plant, right? And 2Q. So I'm talking about double the flow or triple the flow in some cases, right? So says, are you gonna be okay? I'm like, well, sooner or later I have to jump into it anyway. So I think I'll be okay. I've got the SOPs with me. I've gone through the training material. And then again, right? Your supervisor is calling up on you to say, hey, you're gonna be okay. You need more support, and you're the one young guy who's trying to make.
I got it.
I'll be okay, right? And that's what I did. I said, no, I'll be fine. I think I think everything got covered. I know what I'm gonna do if the flow increases, how to handle that flow and how to slowly bring it in. And I have SCADA to my rescue as well, so I'll monitor it. So sure enough, rain falls, the flow goes up slowly. It was from 450 to 600, 700, 800, 900 MLD, 1000 MLD. Now I'm panicking. I'm like, okay, I'm going to prevent the bypass, but at the same time, you got to bypass to protect your equipment, your infrastructure, which is important. So you got to manage that, and you have to handle that flow. So I'm talking, the control room was 3 stairs up. I'm talking 3 floors up. And then the headworks, which I was in charge of. Headworks is the first stage in the treatment process. Screens and grit removal systems and all of that stuff is great channels, primary tanks. Collectors start breaking when you have high flows with a lot of sludge coming in. So I'm going up and down, like making sure my bar screens are okay. They're still moving up and down. My compactors are still compacting and removing water out of the system. Grit tanks are running. It was a big grit tanks. And then also we have the Vertex grit chambers. And those Vertex grit chambers typically get plugged in really quickly during the high flow because it's, the first gush of the flow, you got all the grit on the streets, everything gets washed in, right? And those are, you have a pump that will actually create a suction and suck out those grit, and they plug up on a constant basis. So I was going through all of that. I was sweating, literally going up and down, going to SCADA, making sure all my levels were properly, none of the channels were overflowing or anything of that nature. I come down, make sure that I clean the bar screen or run a couple of cycles to make sure that they're running up and down fine. The sure enough bypass was about to happen, but throughout all of these things, I was dead tired, and I was very thankful for the support I received by this veteran operator.
Yeah.
He was a tremendous amount of help. I gave him a call. I said, listen, this channel level is rising. What do I need to do? Support from an experienced person who was sitting on the other side of the treatment plant. I'm talking about massive plant. He was guiding me over the phone. He's like, okay, if this channel level is this, you need to do this. Remember that SOP? I'm like, I'm not remembering anything. My friend, I got so many things happening at this time.
Yeah.
Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I was running around and trying to fix the issues and trying to measure it so that we prevent the bypass. And sure enough, after having so many stairs of flight up and down, continuously sweating myself, I'm at that point, I'm like opening up two buttons on my shirt and I'm running up and down. And yeah, it was great learning experience for me though. And I don't forget that day even till today, because that taught me that, if you set out to do something and you do all your best, things tend to happen, right? You get support from folks, you're doing it, but at the same time, do not be afraid to ask for support, right? And that's the key, right? So many times we see operators, they're hesitant on thinking that, oh, maybe that might be a stupid question. I've gone through this training, I shouldn't ask that question. No, just ask that question when it's right. If you're not sure, feel free to reach out, and I'm sure any of your supervisors or lead hands or experienced operator, they're always come to rescue, and that was a fantastic experience for me as well. But yeah, that was just me being naive at the young age, right?
No, I appreciate you sharing that, because I think a lot of us can see ourselves with that, like, oh, I read the books, I went through the coursework, I'm finally on the job, like, I got this. And a lot of times in the back of our head, we're like, well, we haven't really done it. We've studied it. We've kind of been around it. We've looked at it, but we haven't really done it. And so I think, like you said, to echo, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to accept help. I mean, I think a lot of us were mentally savvy enough to ask for it, but when it's offered to us, we go, no, I think I got it. But we're quick to say, hey, help me out with this. But I think just to take that help that they offer, because I'm sure the guy who asked you if you need some help, he might have known something. He might have said, you know what? Like, I've been watching Sumant for the last 6 months. He's really good, but he's not versed in this, or he might not know that. And that little help that he could have given you, it might have helped out. Who knows? It might not have. But you get what I'm saying. I think a lot of times people who offer us help, they know we're going to be in a pickle soon, or we're running into or into a brick wall, or on the way to. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So the next question is, what is Sumant's public or personal and professional development regimen like? How do you show up year after year, month after month, week after week, better and better?
Yeah. For me, Joseph, I try to get involved as much as I can, right? Learning never stops. So as long as you have a learning mindset and your mind is like a sponge, you can get all that information. And the world is full of information, right? So I think what I do is I just get involved with various different organizations that relate to public works and water wastewater industry in Ontario. I'm also sit on a board of director at VO. I'm involved with OWWA. I'm always in touch with them. Water Canada, just got involved with them as well. Academia as well. They do a lot of new research in this field, right? Water, wastewater. So I get involved with them, read the magazines that come out, stay in touch. And the biggest thing I find, Joseph, is mentor others, because I've been very fortunate, as I mentioned earlier. I've been very fortunate with great mentors in my life, and I want to return the favor. But as I return this favor and I become on the other side of the table where I'm mentoring folks, I find myself learning so much from these new folks, right?
That's like what?
like about the new technology, about new
Okay.
ways of doing things, about the AI, about even
Yeah.
about the industry initiatives that is happening somewhere on the other corner of the province that I didn't
Yeah.
know about. They tell me about it. Hey, have you heard about this Ontario Water Consortium and their stuff? I go home and I Google it and I learn something new that day, right? So even with this mentorship, right? I've and also you understand the struggle that they have and you build those connections. So staffing is a real challenge in our industry as well. So these are the
For sure.
venues where I find good cream people and then trying to recruit them as a part of our recruitment strategy. So yeah,
Yeah.
learning from them and also staying connected it helps me grow.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing, Joseph, I want to mention because I saw one of your podcasts just recently about exercising and the
Yeah.
health, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to
Physical
stay
fitness.
tuned,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's very important, man. And
Yeah.
honestly, I have been lacking in that field lately
Mm,
because my focus has been shifted to like a professional development. I'm passionate about this work, but
yeah.
at the same time, it's equally important to make sure you are there to do that
Yeah.
and your body is there
Yeah.
with you, right?
No.
So staying
No.
healthy is key to
No.
yeah,
That's me every 4 months. I'm like, okay, I've been focusing too much on my company or the industry or the park, whatever. And I could see myself physically letting go of myself. And I'm like, how can you show up authentically and like professionally when you can't keep your own self together? And that's where I kick myself in the butt. Like, all right, let's get back on the program. Start eating clean, start getting good sleep. Like we can always stay up till midnight tinkering around on the computer, then waking up at 5 thinking we're gonna actually, make good decisions that next day. And then also just exercising. Like I feel like a lot of my exercise helps me more mentally than it does physically. And I
yeah,
think a lot of people like yourself and operators who are in the field like at the wheel right now, whether you just add some more steps to your lunch or you take out that bag of Cheetos and that Coke, those things over time will speak numbers. And that's again like I shot the video 5 months ago, just posted it, but again it's another kick in the butt. Like, ooh, the last couple months I've kind of been off the wagon.
yeah, no, it's very important, man. And yeah, I try to stay active with my kids as much as
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah.
But it's some days are really struggle, really challenge, right? We have a busy day at
Yep.
work. We've gone through some heavy lifting,
Yep.
not physically heavy lifting, but
Yeah. Mental.
mentally.
Yeah.
You come home and you just sit on a
Yep.
sofa and you turn on the TV, and then you're like, oh, next thing you know, you're dozing off. So it's
Yep.
very difficult, but it's very, very important. So
Yep.
that's something that I'm gonna focus on, right?
Sure.
I talk about it. My wife always reminds me,
Yeah.
like,
That's
hey,
not nice.
remember yesterday we had this talk and you haven't done anything today.
Good stuff. It's good to have somebody in our corner that can remind us, but sometimes from the wife, it's not always the best.
Yeah.
All right. What would you say is the biggest misconception about what you do? Like, let's say you're at a dinner party and somebody, the question always comes up. So, Sumant, what do you do? And you say, I'm the manager of Operations Wastewater Services, City of Guelph. What do you think they think? Like, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about what you do?
One of the biggest misconception that I hear about public works or government employees is this is the response I get when if I'm at the party. Oh, must be nice, right?
Must be nice.
Working for a government organization, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Must be
always have that.
chill.
Yo, you guys don't do much, and then and that sort of mentality. I've got that many times. Like, oh, you got great benefit pay, and I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, it's a good, but it's not the case anymore these days.
Yeah.
And I tell them, Joseph, like, the pressures are real, right? I'm
Mm,
talking about like, a council, mayoral, regulatory
yeah.
changes, supply chain challenges, a higher expectation from a public to now public are also being a lot more knowledgeable and that they
Yeah.
understand and they want to
Yep.
make sure that
Yep.
the money that they're spending in the tax or the rate that they're paying for the water,
Yep.
they're getting a good service for it. And we have
Yep.
to reciprocate that as a public works employees because they're our customer. If they're
Yeah.
not there and they don't agree to pay, we're not going to have salaries or the
Yeah,
jobs.
yeah,
So
no, like now all of a sudden they're asking about fluoride, and it's like,
that's
well, it's
right.
because they hit the news, and like,
Yeah.
oh, now we got to answer that question.
But it's good. I find those are great opportunity for us to connect with them and educate the public about the reality of our industry.
Yeah.
But those pressures are real, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, financial management side of the thing. So that's a misconception that I always clarify. I'm like, no, my friend, it's not the same as you thought, 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
Now actually public servants are really looked up on to make sure that they're delivering the services that they're supposed to deliver, and rightfully so, right?
Yeah.
And that makes us in a sort of you know expectation for us to deliver. And then when those kind of pressures are there, you need to deliver. And people are also finding some change fatigue, and
Yeah.
a lot of changes are happening through regulations. If you're
Yep.
working for a private firm, usually you don't see every 4 to 5 years your your owner of your company changing, right?
True.
But you got your council,
Less than
municipal.
that sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when they change, dynamics may change as well, right? So just coping with all of that change is important for our folks to know that what we are dealing with in a public works industry.
Sure. No, I like your you said it a couple of times, change fatigue. It just kind of got my brain going of like how many things, like you said, culturally, or not culturally, but yeah, culturally, COVID, we got the presidential race in the US, we got like all this stuff happening, and like budget cuts and the Infrastructure Jobs Act, like all these different like mammoth, types of changes that happen, tariffs, like all this crazy stuff. A lot of people can just go, you know what, I'm just going to check out mentally, or I'm tired. Like there's always something new, like what next? And you can just kind of get in that mode of like, screw it, I'm just going to mail it in, for the rest of my career, which leads me to my next question is the silver tsunami. I feel like our best and brightest are focusing on aging infrastructure. Like there's old pipes, there's old streets, there's old tanks, everything's old. Like we need to redo everything. I like to focus on the aging workforce, those who are 30, 40 years in this industry. Who said they leave, they take all that knowledge with them. So when young Sumant is his first night shift night on the plant, he's like, hey, these SOPs aren't like really cutting it for me. Like I need to talk to somebody who's done it before to walk you through it. So what have you seen that, whether it's your city or other colleagues have done to get that new generation in, and then get that knowledge transfer from those who are about to leave to those who had just got into the industry?
Really good question, Joseph, and something that I'm currently working with my team as well, right? The knowledge transfer and capturing all that knowledge for the folks who has, if not 20, 30 years of experience and the knowledge that they're, have that's going to go off when they retire, right? So how do you best capture that is something we develop is called on-the-job training program. So through that, we've developed some SOPs or some work instructions through that. Yeah. And the best is what we are doing right now, podcasts.
Yeah, just talking about
the training videos, right? So
yeah,
we have started utilizing technology to our best advantage, right? So we kind of have a young operator sit with more experienced operator and capture that. How do you deal with when you have process upset of that level? How do you deal with when you have pump cavitation happening? What do you do, right? So just capturing that and building that as a repository in our system. So we've started developing those training videos.
Nice.
Also, works management system. How do I create work orders when pump are down, right? So you have CMMS specialists sitting with the operators and capturing that as a screenshot on a video, right?
Boom.
So that way we have it for many, many years now, right? So the other thing that we have developed as a part of our capital program delivery. So we do a lot of design construction happening, and then during commissioning phase, when we actually take over after performance tests, when we take over the system to operate with our staff, we get those training recorded. So they go through all the trainings, the new system that they come in. We have got this fantastic, got approval for a video camera that put it on a tripod, and capture the entire training session for the new operators who might be coming in, or
Yeah.
operator who may miss for that day, right? The training, so that we can capture all that information into that video.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sounds. I like it. I like it. All right. Let's say you're commissioned to put up a billboard, and this billboard is in the most trafficked area of Guelph, Ontario. What ask of your community in regards to wastewater would you put on this billboard?
In today's day, I would say to educate public, like a catchy sentences, and one of the catchy sentences I can think of is, imagine a day without water, right? And if you can't imagine a day without water, come visit us and get to know more about your water rates, right?
Yeah.
This is important. The more people you educate, the better it is about the service that water wastewater industry does, like water, wastewater, and stormwater, and how important it is, how impactful it is. Maybe you can do without a park, right? Or maybe you can do without a one recreational facility, but can you do without having your toilet flushed? Or can you do without not having water in your tap, right? It's an essential service and it should be treated as one. And a lot of people don't know that, Joseph. So just to educate them, right? And one time I was seeing one elderly gentleman who came in for an open house at our wastewater treatment facility, and he was fascinated by the wastewater treatment, right? So, and he's like, I never knew this, man, like how important it is. So I asked him, like, yeah, it's a lot of people don't know how important this is and how we treat and the magic that happens in water wastewater treatment facilities. And then I posed him a question, like, if you wake up in the morning, imagine what is the first thing you do, right? So you could do either two things these days. Either you check your phone or you go use your washroom, right? Either or, right? So they both require water. And the guy's like, what do you mean by checking my phone requires water? I'm like, you know, the data that you surf on the social media or whatever the news you're trying to get, all that data, these massive data centers that are run by them, they use a significant amount of volume of water, right? Hyperscale data center water uses somewhere around like 1 to 5 million gallons per day, which is like 4 to 19 million liters a day, right? So he was like shocked, right? He's like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm like, people don't know the importance of water until you tell them, right? So the education side of the thing. So hoping that kind of catchy billboards would probably drive them to ask that question and draw their attention towards water wastewater.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think when you say water, they're like, oh, well, I'm going to lose my water bottles. I won't be able to wash dishes. But no, there's a lot more that water touches just besides the kitchen and bathroom.
Yeah,
for sure. All right. I always like to leave a space on the show for you to thank mentors that you had along your journey. And then I want you to give a word of inspiration and motivation to your fellow Operation Wastewater Services managers across the country or around the world.
Sure, man. Okay, I'm going to talk about my personal mentors and then professional mentors, right? So my personal mentor is my family, Joseph, like my dad, right? I mentioned about my dad and my wife. Yeah. And I'm very, very fortunate and lucky to have the life partner in form of wife that is so supportive. So my dad, I'll give you a quick example. I was in grade 9. I wasn't the brightest student. I was failing math, my friend, as a grade 9 student back home in India. Grade 10 is where your stream gets back home. Grade 10, the exam that you give based on the results, you decide your stream. Either you're going to be a commerce student or science students, right? So science students are it's very difficult to get into. So the math was very important and I was failing it. My dad saw that and he's like, oh, this student is, my son's going to struggle in next year. He's going to fail the math and he would have to redo it. He didn't care about whether I got into commerce or science, but he cared about the math portion and how weak I was. He quit his job for a year. He became my tutor. So he took grade 5 books and he fixed the entire math into my brain, right? From grade 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we used to sit on, like we had, back home in India, they have roofs. Instead of roof, they have a location, right? Like open terrace. So we used to sit there from morning to evening, on a weekends and right after evening, just go over math problems, the basics of maths. He did that, and I scored 93% in
Wow.
math in grade 10. So significant difference. And
Wow.
he's been a rock solid for me in terms of my entire career path. So I'm very thankful for my dad and my entire family. If I speak about my mother, it's gonna need another episode, man. So I'm gonna skip that.
I understood. I respect that.
For my wife, she married me not knowing anything about Canada. She was in India.
Uh,
No, I didn't have a job at that time.
yeah.
And even after the fact, because I was in a transition from software to environmental side of
Yeah.
things. So I was in school and didn't have a job. And even then she stuck with me, and she got married, and she has always been very supportive of anything. And she's also a dietitian, so she takes care of my diet and make sure that I'm eating healthy, at least if I'm not exercising. So yeah, she has been supportive throughout. So those are the two main mentors, and she's so resilient as well. She did her MBA from back home, but she came here and she realized that the MBA had no scope down here. She would have to do something more. She got completely changed her field as well to healthcare. So she's doing a
Yeah.
dietitian in a hospital right now.
Wow.
But yeah, you can only think that somebody would go through that many changes only if the person loves you and supports you, right? So I'm very thankful for that. So those are my two sort of private mentors. And the personally, I mean, not personally, professionally,
Yeah.
I'm very thankful to my first supervisor who gave me an opportunity to be in the water wastewater field, which is Shirley Ann Smith. She works for Environment Canada and Climate Change, which is a federal department who looks after environment side of the things. And she introduced me to the industry, and she taught me a great deal about wastewater and treatment and optimization and all of that thing. I still remember my days in her office. She was explaining me about ammonia reduction, nitrates, nitrites, and nitrifiers, which was pretty cool, I found at that time. So she's great. The other person that I would like to acknowledge is Krishna Mahadeo and William Fernandez, who has also stood strong with me in my career journey, and they have also given me a lot of information. Krishna specifically on the asset management side, right? I was not on a maintenance background. My background was on environmental side and software, so he introduced me to more of a maintenance management side of the thing. So very thankful for him. And William Fernandez has always been a great leader and supporter for my journey. So yeah, those are some of the few folks. I have many more, but
Yeah.
let's for later.
No, understood. Understood. All right. Let's say I'm coming to town. I'm coming to Guelph, Ontario, and I text you ahead of time. I say, Sumant, where can I go to get the best burger in Guelph? Where are you going to send me?
If you want the best burger, man, you got to go to this place called Ham, BRGR, Hamburger.
Okay.
Right? They serve the best chicken and red meat burgers, man. It's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a local business, and they've started opening up a second franchise now in the same town.
Yeah.
A fantastic juicy burgers, man. Every time I go, my kids, they love it. We enjoy it. So if you're coming up to Hamilton, you gotta visit that place.
Where would I go for the best Indian food in Guelph? Like, where does Sumant take the family out? We're getting some authentic, from back home Indian food.
So
Where are you
if you
going?
want authentic back home Indian food, you gotta go to this called Anna Lakshmi, man. It's a
Okay.
South Indian.
Okay.
It's a little bit on a spicier side, but that's authentic, right?
What's the difference between South and North India, like food wise?
Yeah, it's a diversity to its own, man. Like you can find diverse amount of foods in India. You got North Indian foods, you got Kashmiri foods, then you got Punjabi foods, then you got Gujarati foods, Maharashtrian foods. So there's so many, man.
It's kind of like in the States how we have different pizzas, like Chicago style, you got New York style, then we have like different Mexican, different barbecue. So that will make sense.
But they're all still pizzas. This is completely different course, man. You're like, I had completely different items.
Yeah.
From North India to now I'm South India. I'm seeing completely different stuff on my plate. Yeah.
Wow. That's cool. That's cool. All right. Well, Sumant, thanks for hopping on the podcast today. Thanks for sharing your wealth of information and knowledge with us. To all the listeners out there, make sure you share this with somebody who you think needs to hear it. Sumant, any final words before we get out of here?
No, my friend, just stay strong and stay resilient.
That's it, baby.
Yeah.
All right, Sumant. Thanks for hopping on. This has been the Public Works Podcast, and thank you everybody for tuning in.